Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The prayer today is a morning prayer. All-powerful, eternal God, splendor of true light and never-ending day. At this return of the morning hour, chase away the night of sin and fill our minds with the glory of your coming. Through Christ our Lord, amen. Thank you. Start us out, Jerry.
On July 12th, for maintenance, I accepted the resignation of Nicholas Tilk from summer help, effective July 1st, 2022, and approved and executed a service contract agreement with Inglady Landscaping, LLC, doing business as Artistic Solutions, to perform irrigation maintenance and repairs for the Red Simmons Memorial Site as per the director for a period of 2 years, beginning July 12th, 2022, in an amount not to exceed $2,000. For transit, approved and executed the Ohio Motor Fuel Tax Refund Claim for transit buses for the period of April 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2022 in the amount of $4,388.82. That's $408.94 for diesel, $3,979.88 for gasoline. The Department of Water Resources approved hiring Mary Ellen Warren to the position of full-time administrative assistant at the rate of $15.57 per hour, to be effective July 18th, 2022, with a one-year probationary period. The offer of employment was contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions, and approved an unpaid medical leave of absence for Rob Edmonds in accordance with the union contract for the period of July 13th, 2022 to July 21st, 2022. On July 15th, for maintenance, I approved and executed a service contract agreement with Silco Fire and Security to provide maintenance system inspections and monthly monitoring for a period of 5 years, beginning July 15th, 2022, in an amount not to exceed $20,000. And for the Department of Water Resources, approved hiring Connor Schultz to the position of part-time maintenance worker at the rate of $19.47 per hour, to be effective July 25th, 2022, with a one-year probationary period. The offer of employment was contingent upon the successful completion of the required pre-employment conditions, and I approved and executed the Ohio Water Development Authority Fund Payment Request number 21 for technical services by GPD Group Incorporated for the Chardon Township Wastewater Treatment Plant and Sewers Project in the amount of $599.68.
Thank you. Adrian, mighty important behind that podium.
This is a different setup. So today's financials include cash transfers from the general fund to Family First for our July through September 2022 commitment. Also from the general fund to Community Development and Metzenbaum for the second quarter 2022 interest transfer, and also from the general fund to Victim Witness Assistance to provide resources needed due to cuts in the state funding. Among the encumbrances are an increase from the commissioners to Corsa for additional premiums due to cover insurance for the new building. Also a travel from the engineer's office to attend the 2022 Ohio Bridge Conference and Trade Show, and also a purchase order from Water Resources to Junction Auto Sales for the purchase of a model year 2019 Dodge Ram 1500 Quad Cab 4x4. Among the vouchers are $1,280,501.88 from the Commissioner's Office to Donnelly's Independence Incorporated for pay request number 20 for the new county office building project, and $310,084.75 from the Engineer's Office to Chagrin Valley Paving Incorporated for the asphalt resurfacing of Chagrin Road, and also a revenue certification from the Commissioner's Office in the General Fund for the opioid settlement money received so far this year.
Say that last part again.
The opioid settlement money that we got from the Giant Eagle settlement, I'm certifying that inside the general fund so I can then set up a transfer to put it into the opioid settlement fund that we created.
Okay.
So, to get it out of the general fund.
Gotcha. A separate allocation.
Correct, yeah.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you.
Airport.
This is just one of their board members resigned back in December, Jim McKee. His resignation was effective December 15, 2021. So they're asking to acknowledge and accept that resignation and then to appoint Robert Slosh to the airport board to fill the unexpired term of Mr. McKay through December 31st, 2023.
Okay, very good. I'll make the motion.
Second?
Yes.
Yes. Vote.
Yeah, vote.
Thank you. Board of Mental Health.
Warren, sorry we don't have any seats here yet, but we will. Whatever you're comfortable with, if you want to stand or sit or whatever you want to do. Yeah. Apologize, we're going to get somewhere for you to sit down.
So last time we were here, there was some questions,
Yeah.
and hopefully now we have been able to answer those for you. So we are coming back in hopes that now we can get this through so that we can get it certified by the auditor.
So,
And we have the paperwork from last time, we brought it again just in case you wanted to re-review it.
okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, I originally made the motion to move forward with this, and I think Commissioner Dvorak actually brought up a pretty good point, that maybe something I had missed on this, that, you know, the question I think we both had was, you know, the budget that you currently have, and then, which is close to about over a $4 million carryover, correct, going into next year.
Or is it closer to 7 now?
It's,
No, it's four.
The carryover part, right? So,
correct.
so, you know, going back and having your budget reduced by the Budget Commission this year for next year, and I understand why you're coming early for a levy is, you know, strategic, so if you miss the target, you get another bite at the apple later. What it says to me, though, is, and I understand why you're doing it, but what it says to me as a taxpayer is, we don't know exactly what we need the money for. Trust us, we'll figure it out later, is what it says to me personally. And I agree with Commissioner Dvorak in pausing and saying, do you need that levy to continue? Or, and I've heard what you said also, that it's based on a lot of grants you've been receiving. So that's why you have such a excessive carryover, correct? You haven't had to use your full amounts?
Perhaps excessive carryover is a misnomer. We have 6 months in reserves, which is standard for a mental health board for Ohio. What the auditor would like to see is a 3-month reserve instead, because he feels that departments like ours should only carry 30 to 40% for the following year.
Yeah, I spoke to the auditor
Which
about it
is,
as well.
which is fine, but in our case, the reason why we had a 6-month reserve was because we have capital projects
And
that
what are
are
those?
in works.
What are the capital projects? I haven't heard any of
So
those.
we have 3, and we've also produced the paperwork for the auditor as well, which is why they're recommending we move forward with this levy as well. The first one is for
Who's
how,
recommending?
the auditor told us to go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, this was,
Yeah.
I mean, this
Right,
was.
'cause I spoke to the auditor
We worked in
also.
conjunction with, you know, with Todd, and, I mean, he was on board
In
with this.
favor.
With this,
If,
yeah.
with your plan, I guess what we haven't heard is what that plan is. Maybe
Right,
that's what.
so the capital commitments we're in right now, we're in process with Ohio Moss, with with Senator Sherrod Brown, and also in a joint project with JFS.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is to redo the GYC.
Youth Center, yep.
Right. One of them is to create housing for severely mentally ill.
Where, in Jaga County?
Correct.
Mhm.
And the plot of land we're looking at is already, we own it. And it's right in the vicinity where the TLC is currently, which is our crisis unit.
Mhm.
They need a step down. So it would be to create that step down unit. It'd be for severely mentally ill folks
Mhm.
to be able to have that continuum that in-between for them. And that would be about a 10 unit there for them. Because right now we have people who are just staying in there because we have no place to place them, or they're put into housing units that really aren't appropriate. They're not a high enough level.
So I guess back up real quick, I'm curious, because I am familiar with the youth center. I've been talking about that for the last probably 6.5 years with the former director of mental health. And I was always told that they couldn't use their levy dollars to build these, to help or participate in the youth center, but you're saying now that you believe you can.
No, our levy dollars are 100% going to service. We provided you with a breakdown to show 100% of these levy dollars were going to service. The capital funds for which we are holding extra or have been saving extra reserves in our account for, this is what they're going to be used for, because in order to take these grants from the state or from this initiative that Senator Brown is doing, we have to commit to a certain percentage.
Okay. And that's
on
been
our
done,
end.
and you.
We're in the process of starting a reserve fund.
Okay, because
And again,
That's
that
where
was
we
talking
messed up.
that was
Right,
talking
we
with
didn't
Doug.
get the reserve fund.
And we would transfer about 1.2 million from the carryover into the reserve fund.
Okay, so
So
this
if
is
you look at,
something.
if you look at the 1.2 million, and that's probably a bare minimum.
Okay.
So you combine that with the 50% rollback we're kind of going to do for this year, which is like the next year. That's another 800,000. So you take that carryover, you subtract those two figures, you're by far, well
Okay.
within what Chuck was wanting.
Right, and that
Well, I
is-
think that's, I guess, and no, I know you've been around for a few years, right? But you're new now as you're the director, correct? Or interim director?
No, actually, Leela Vidmar
Oh, okay.
is coming in as the interim
Oh, okay.
executive director. But we've just been trying to get everything on track.
Gotcha.
I know that there was a
Yeah.
misstep we're trying to correct.
Gotcha.
So those 800,000 that we're reducing this time is because of a grant that we were able to get. That grant's not guaranteed.
Okay.
So,
No, and
yeah.
don't take this the wrong way. I'm not trying to, come down on you or trying to, I'm just trying to understand it because, I've heard little bits and pieces out there and, but never an official plan of exactly what this budget is being put towards. I've never heard that yet. All I've heard is reduction in the levy and then we want to go back out and renew, and then I've heard some rumors about building maybe a building or, putting this towards new projects. But again, that to me, as a taxpayer, not as a commissioner, I'm hearing, we need the money, we've got plenty of money, we need more, we don't know exactly what yet. Let us get the money and then we'll tell you later, the plan. The way I always work, the business plan is, we see the plan, then we talk about how much money,
I know.
right? Yeah.
But I forwarded you Chuck's email about these levies being qualified.
I've talked to him plenty of times about this.
That's what I was trying to say at the last meeting.
Yeah.
I don't think I did a very good job
Yeah.
trying to explain it, but that's why he's definitely recommending.
But I mean,
This
and it's not just convincing me, we're gonna, prove this and move forward, because at the end of the day, it's up to the voters to decide if they wanna renew this or not, correct? It's not my decision.
I mean, we're
but I'm
conservatives, we're
saying-
trying to use tax dollars judiciously. It's
Yep.
just if we don't need this amount at this moment because of this influx of grant funds,
Right.
then of course.
And you can't count on that.
Right,
You can't bank on
right,
that. Yeah.
so we do need the levy through, but again, if we, for some reason, get these funds again, then obviously we're going to continue to do this. We're not
Correct.
gonna take tax money that we don't need. But the reserve funds we have, the issue was we should have created a fund for housing.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yes, I
A
know
long
that,
time
but I
ago.
can't control.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
pointing a finger at anybody, I'm just saying.
But I'm
because-
doing
yeah.
everything that I can to make
Yeah.
sure that that's corrected and will not be a mistake.
Well, you're
moving
doing a great
forward.
job, you really are, I
I
appreciate you.
appreciate you saying that.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
means a lot coming
Yeah.
from you guys with
Yeah.
such
No,
experience.
we know what's going on there, and we do appreciate your stick-to-itiveness and willingness to, get this thing up on where it should have been originally, so,
You've inherited a lot
Yeah.
of different things.
yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your sentiment
Yeah.
on that. Like I said, I'm conservative. I'm going to do the best I can to do right by the
No,
taxpayer
you are.
and make
Yep.
sure things get back on
And
track.
I guess the moral of the story is, those plans, they sound good. I think we need to make sure that the public, if you want this to be successful, knows what those plans are gonna be.
I agree
Yeah,
with that,
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
great, and that's a good suggestion too,
So,
yeah.
I don't know if you have any other questions or?
Just, I'm gonna stand firm with, you know, you're early. You're taking half the money that, you're supposed to get, you know, through the, board of, your budget commission. And, right now you have too much money, that's why you have to cut it from 0.5 mil to 0.25. So it just boggles a lot of taxpayers' minds. It's like, you say you have too much money, and everybody agreed to that, so you're taking less, but you want to have this levy a year early. So I'm leaning towards, I'll see you next year.
I understand that, but for us to do that, then we have two levies on the ballot at the same time, and this gives
But
us an
that's-
opportunity to go back. So this is, we've been doing it this way for
Yeah,
years.
see, I mean, I respectfully disagree with that logic, because you're gonna send a message out to other departments that are doing this, they're rolling back their levies, if they have too much money. DD did it last year. I mean, it's just a timing issue of when these levies come up. I mean, I just think, would you rather have had us kick the can down the road and then pass the levy, then roll it back? I just think it's a total.
Well, they're both early.
It's a total timing issue.
The other one's early too,
Yeah, and-
so they're both early, yeah.
Right, I mean, and every department
Yeah.
will do that. I mean, you're gonna put stuff at risk when we have two levies. One is can go a year early next year too.
Yeah,
So
they're
you're gonna push those
coming
both
early.
down. The budget commission won't let me put, those levy dollars, say you vote no on this. Next year, when I do the budget, I can't put those dollars in there. It's gonna look, our budget will look terrible, because it's gonna look like we're, totally deficit spending.
Mhm.
Unless the levy was to pass, then we can go back and put those dollars in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, the timing issue is, we're gonna be rolling back 2022 collection, which is collected next year, so it's 2022. This levy that we're putting on, if we were to put it on, commences in 2023 with first year collection of 24. So it's really, it's not at the same time. It's purely this bad timing situation. And that was the agreement we kind of came with, when we talked to the budget commission, and we went for it, and now it seems like we're kind of being penalized.
Yeah.
But does this push the other revolving levy? If you come back on a different levy for another year, would that trigger you always coming back here a year early?
We've always tried to come back a year early. Sometimes our .7, which is the next one, which can be used for both AOD, building and acquisition, and mental health services. Sometimes we push that to the very last chance, which is a year later. I don't like to do that because I don't like the budgeting process where I cannot show those dollars because they're not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed to pass. So it makes the initial budget look terrible.
I'm going to make a motion to approve for the levy to move forward. So that's my motion.
The motion dies for lack of a second.
Okay. Sorry. I just want to say that I am in favor. I do understand what you're trying to do. I think in the
I'll just
future.
close by saying
Yeah.
it's, you put the system at risk.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, like I said, I would vote in favor of it. I understand what it is, but, that's.
Okay.
Okay.
Planning Commission?
Good morning.
Morning.
This item is for a flat in Bainbridge Township Marketplace at Four Corners here on Aurora Road, right in kind of the hub of all the commercial activity in Bainbridge Township. It was approved at the June 14th Planning Commission meeting. It's sublot 3 in that subdivision, and they're basically just subdividing it in half. Starbucks is currently located on the east side of the property. It is the former location of the Ruby Tuesday as well. So they're splitting it in order to create another buildable lot there to the west. It will create sublots 3A and 3B. The average lot size is about 0.82 acres, and all the comments have been addressed.
Very good.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yes.
On that.
Hi. Okay. All good?
Yep.
Okay. Now,
Commissioner, I'll take it.
you got it. Is it nice? Yeah.
Even though you're supposed to.
I know. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Lisa with Geauga Soil and Water Conservation District, and I'm here requesting that the board acknowledges the first and second notice of violation against Mr. Paul Hummer occurring on 14580 Caves Road. He issued the first notice of violation on April 29, 2021. He never submitted a plan with our office, and there was some people calling in requesting if there was plans just because they were seeing activity on this parcel. So we requested Mr. Hummer submit a plan with us. He did submit a very brief plan. So he submitted maps with us, and the total disturbance on the map that he outlined himself was 5.1 acres, and he didn't contact the correct governing bodies for sediment erosion control, so he didn't contact the Army Corps, and he did not contact the Ohio EPA. So we are requesting you issue a finding of violation and to proceed with the Geauga County prosecutor for further action.
And he's operating in a wetland, you believe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Based on the maps he
Okay.
provided us.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Okay. And then my second issue is on 8470 Martin Road. We issued a stop work order on July 7th to this individual. The prosecutor acknowledged it and authorized it. We went straight to a stop work order because this site is actually disturbing in a property adjacent to Silver Creek, and it appears to be potential wetlands. We do have an appointment with the Army Corps of Engineers on August 16th to visit the site, but we wanted to make sure that we put that stop work order in place so no further digging in this stream is.
And they didn't file the proper paperwork with the correct agency who were operating in that wetland. I reviewed the evidence of it. They submitted an original plan, but this is way outside of it.
Way out, yeah, there was an addition done on the property, and that was all good, got a permit for that, but then doing inspections, she noticed down by the river, there was many acres being disturbed.
And I guess just real quick, was there any discussion with the property owner as to why, or was there any response to this, or?
Yeah, so we met with him in the office, and he said that he was just trying to do some property improvements because that was a wet area. And we then proceeded to tell him that no more digging in that stream until we get the Army Corps of Engineers what they would like to do for mitigation.
Yeah. Okay, very good. I'll make a motion.
Second?
Commissioner White?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Are you all moved in?
No, next
No,
one.
oh, okay.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
The next item deals with the new solid waste facility, to amend the lease put together with regards to the retention pond, the detention pond that's there
Oh, yeah.
on maintenance, so we need to add that into the,
Okay.
into the.
So it's their
This is adding that in.
They're responsible. Okay, all right. You want to make a motion? Or since it's,
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay. And I'll second that?
Commissioner Lyon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Okay.
'Cause I'm president.
Right.
You're chair, yeah, you signed it on behalf of the chair of the.
Right,
Okay.
on the other side of the contract.
Yeah.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Morning. Good morning, Glenn.
How are y'all?
Good.
This is for Rick Wareham. Rick Wareham just went over his 15 years of service. He got dropped 40 hours with the shortage of the maintenance department and everything going on right now with the new building and everything. He's requesting that we extend his over 200 hours. Okay, for vacation.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Commissioner Lyon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
It's much appreciated and thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 11, Commissioner Officer requesting for executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of a private employee at Water Resources.
Mr. Chair?
I make the motion to go into executive session and time frame.
It is 10:04.
Yeah, second?
Commissioner Lyon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes. And who will all be in
Including
the...
myself and Director Woolridge.
Okay, thank you. We are now in executive session. We'll be later.
Asking for a title amendments?
You're vice president
Oh,
of the
okay.
board of commissioners.
Of us.
Oh, of us, okay, yeah, I was like, I'm not, yeah.
Yeah. You have your key, Tim.
No. Or wait, yes. Let me get it back here.
Yes.
Right now.
Okay, I have you returning at 11:24. Any action?
No action.
Okay.
Jerry,
I do have one addition, looking at the outside counsel for the commissioners, cases where, the prosecutor's office has a conflict, we have the authority to do that. I've been working with Amelie, I can pronounce her last name, Pagano, with Myers Roman, and I have an engagement letter in place. We just need to get the certification, the encumbrance in that place too. So I'd like you to authorize me to sign that engagement letter once we get that certification.
Okay, so moved.
second.
Commissioner Lyon?
Yes.
Commissioner DeWort?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else, Chris?
Mr. Chair?
I do not, I just have, you guys have to sign these, so I can send them back to the detention center for your junk burden for them.
At this time, we'll go into public comment.
Mr. Chair?
Recognize the guy in the back.
Skip
Please state your name.
Skip Claypool, Chesapeake, Ohio. I wanted to provide to the board a audio recording of a meeting that was recently referenced in the paper. And just to make a brief comment on that, as a member of the Mental Health Board, we've got a really good board. It's very diverse in its thinking, and which is leading to very positive outcomes. We're searching right now for accountability, and so we ask a lot of questions. you're going to hear in that audio me asking questions of a sheriff deputy that came over for the DARE program, and somebody that came over for the victims loss program, and some other. What you will hear on that recording is a very respectful set of questioning. We have an obligation to search out the evidence. You know, everybody's talking about evidentiary, evidence-based decision-making. In order for us to understand the evidence, we have to ask questions. And so that's what you're going to hear on that audio. At no time did I attack or demean or belittle any of the participants. It was a matter of asking simple questions to try and discover or uncover more details. In the case of the deputy, he was presenting evidence and in reference to the fact that there was evidence supporting the DARE program. I'm not in law enforcement. And so I have to ask questions to discover what that evidence is. And he had referenced that, and so I had asked that question to try and discover what that evidence is. Can you provide that evidence so I can see it? We have an obligation to our taxpayers to make sure that these programs are working. The evidence is showing us that drug use is increasing, mental illness is increasing, depression amongst kids is increasing. There's movements to bring more sexual content into our schools, into our kids, which is very concerning to many of us. And so the only way for us to understand all of that is to ask questions. Our board has been pretty good at that. And so we banter around, that's a good thing. You know, having a robust conversation between adults at the table is healthy for the county, it's healthy for our citizenry, and I want to let you know that your appointees and the existing state appointees are having some pretty good conversations right now, and I think that's a healthy thing, and I want to let you know that. If any time there's any questions, you should reach out and talk to us. Sometimes people avoid, and the press has not done this too, and I had a conversation with Nathaniel State a little bit ago. I encourage you to reach out to us and ask us questions. If there's any concern, whatever the case is, we're your appointees, you can certainly discover what we're thinking, what we're trying to accomplish, and so on and so forth. We might make mistakes, we might, we're volunteers, we're doing this the best that we can in the positions that we're in. But make no mistake, we have a sincere interest. We're not rubber stamping anything, as was past practice, and often is the practice on the part of boards. But this board is very concerned and does a lot of work. We do work on our own personal time to try and do homework on what is happening, how the programs are working, what agencies are doing, and so on and so forth. I just wanted to let you know that. If you have any questions for me, you're free to ask. Give me a call, pick up the phone. Jim, you're more than welcome to reach out and talk to me, and I will have a conversation with you about what's going on in the mental health board, if you choose to do that. And so I just wanted to let you know that the door is open from our perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From what I listened to, you disrespected the officer, and that's what really got me out of my chair. And that's why I asked for you and other three people, Jim, to write a letter of apology to the Sheriff's Department. We have one of the best sheriff's offices in the state of Ohio, and for you to try to nail down some certain type of questions that cannot be answered. It's like, how effective is that stop sign? Well, if you take the stop sign down for 5 years, then you get some numbers who went through, accidents, and so on and so forth. That's what really bothered me when this episode happened on April 6th.
Well, Mr. Dvorak, I'm going to give Ms. Anastasia here a copy of the recording. Anybody that listens to that recording will hear, and I encourage anybody to listen to that recording, will not hear me disrespect this officer. I was asking respectful questions and not attacking him. He had made a statement, and I have a document that he provided to us that said there was evidence of the DARE program working. My question was, if there is evidence, can I see it? That was my question for him. And so, Mr. Dvorak, I understand there's a little bit of a rub between you and I because of the campaign. We got to let that go. This is about the citizens of Geauga County, and I'm working hard to ensure to fulfill my responsibility on that board in a responsible way. And so I would ask you and encourage you to listen to the audio again, because there was no, I listened to it myself just to see if somehow I had, done something inappropriate. I did not. And
Well,
so,
there's other things other than disrespecting our police officers. I've been told, and I'll have to do my own research on it, that it's not only the sheriff's department, but a lot of times you and some others like to bully whoever is given a presentation with your, remarks and things like that. And this particular officer that's in charge of DARE, on the tape, it said that he offered any of you guys to go to a graduation, the Amish graduation. I did go. It was very impactful. The guy knows what he's doing. And for this first presentation that this person has ever done, maybe you've seen that it was like raw meat to get this guy going, to ask him some super tough questions that no one can answer.
that's ridiculous.
Like a 5-year look back and things like that.
If a person comes to the board and they're presenting a case, they better be prepared to answer questions. We're adults in that room, and we're not expecting softball kinds of things. We have responsibility to the taxpayers to be able to ask questions. And I get it. You have a problem with me. Again, that's a personal thing. You don't have to let that go. I would encourage the public to listen to that recording and judge for themselves.
The point is, you disrespected our police officers, and you have done nothing about it. No apology, no anything. I don't mind tough questions, but when you try to make somebody embarrass them and things like that, that's where you're wrong.
And that didn't occur.
Tough questions are
That
fine.
did not occur, John.
Not what I heard. That's not what a lot of police officers in this great county states. I don't care if it's a township policeman or whatever. I think they're all with me on this one. So is there anybody else from public comment?
Yes, sir. I'd like to speak to you for a minute.
Your name, sir?
I'm Jimmy Lee Holden from Newberry Township. You got to try me in the court of public opinion with the newspaper for the June 30th article about our meeting. So I'm here to explain to you some things. You referred to me as a retired police officer, and that is true, but I'm still an active duty certified law enforcement officer. I just want you to know that. You said you reached out to the mental health board, according to the newspaper article, to ascertain or find out why we voted no for the DARE program. This is July 15th. I received no phone call from you, or you, Mr. Lennon. You both have my phone number.
I don't have your phone number.
You do have it.
I'd like to have it when you get done.
I will give it to you.
Great.
Just wanted to explain something to you. In 2000, the Department of Education announced that it would no longer allow schools to spend money to fund DARE programs, citing the work of scientific proof that the program was ineffective. That's 2000. That was 22 years ago. National Library of Medicine, June 2004, Volume 94, Number 6, American Journal of Public Health. Project DARE Outcome Effectiveness Revisited by 2 PhDs. Our results confirm the findings of a previous meta-analysis indicating that Project DARE is ineffective. Scientific evaluation studies have consistently shown that DARE is ineffective in reducing the use of alcohol and drugs, and is sometimes even counterproductive. Worse than doing nothing. That's the conclusion of the U.S. General Accounting Office, the U.S. Surgeon General, the National Academy of Sciences, and the U.S. Department of Education. You demand that I write a letter to Hildenbrand, you're not going to get it. If anybody deserves an apology, it's you to me. Because I voted my conscience based on fact that I've known as my public duty for being a law enforcement officer for over 40 years. Yes, I get it. We're trying to safeguard taxpayer money. I'm a taxpayer too. And I'm going to ask those tough questions, just like Mr. Claypool, when we're trying to fund our mental health board, to make sure that the services that we're providing work. DARE doesn't work. That's why I voted no. And I'll continue to vote no until they come up with a program that's proven to be effective. Now, I generally don't get involved in social media, and I really care less about public comments and letters to the editor. But there are some that say that I don't deserve to be on the board. let me just say this. As a police officer, I respond to a lot of mental health crises. And I've had to deal with those crises pretty regularly throughout my career. So when somebody has a mental health breakdown, they don't call a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or a clinician. They call law enforcement. We have to deal with it. And I've done a pretty good job over 40 years dealing with it, helping getting people to places where they need to get, oftentimes, to get medicated and return home before I ever get off shift. So, for those of you who doubt my ability to be on the board, I think you ought to take another look at it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, what's your phone number?
I'll give it to you in private.
Oh, great. You know, it wasn't so much the DARE program, it was about the snarly type questions that Mr. Claypool was asking.
No, sir, you signaled me out on DARE, and that's
Well,
why I'm here.
you guys voted no, and the question was in the paper, why did you vote no? Now I know.
Should have asked me. I would have told you.
I didn't have your contact information.
You'll have it.
Anybody else?
Diane Jones, Auburn Township. Since Mr. Holden, you have volunteered this information in public and have been very passionate and determined about it, I think my biggest concern is that after all of that, you seem to have a resignation about providing your number to the public in as much as you are a member of the public board. And I would ask you to reconsider that last remark that you made. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, thanks for coming in.
One last item. There's a new flag that was given to Glenn today, and hopefully it'll fly as often as the existing flag flies. It's double-sided, made in America, and Glenn knows the procedures on it. So I just wanted to let you know that it was provided
We
today.
appreciate that. I know you donated it, right, to the county?
Well,
or-
today there's a brand new one
Okay.
because it's not double-sided.
Oh,
So Glenn can use this any place or wherever you guys reside for the future. But I hope to see the POW-MIA flag fly wherever it's appropriate
Yeah.
within Geauga County.
thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's good. Okay, motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.